Sup peeps, my name's Ian, I sell books on eBay, and the big question is, after 3 really slow quiet days, have things returned to normal? Yeah, kind of. It's these things, they're always up and down, always up and down. It was 3 of the worst days I've had all year. Sales wise, who knows what caused it. These things just happen, just coincidence, just chance. But thankfully, last 24 hours, things have gone back to kind of normal. Still not like a ridiculous banging day or anything, but some quite nice sales and a few slightly different bits and pieces going out. So I'll show you what's sold and yeah, talk about a couple of other things. So have a look at a couple of sales. The first one is a little book all on its own. I said the other day I haven't sold many of these classics books for a wee while, but they're beginning to stream out again. It's probably because I've picked a few up and listed them, so it's drawn people to that kind of listing, I think. Anyway, this one is Metamorphoses, Ovid, and that went for £6.99. Put it in its place. Next, we've got a bundle. £13.99 for this lot, which means it's probably going to be over the 2 kilos because it's got a hardcover. So it's 5 Linda LaPlante books. There they are there. 4 paperbacks and a hardcover. Let's say £13.99. I didn't pick up Linda LaPlante for a long time and then started grabbing a few, and actually they sell quite well. Pleasantly surprised. Her and Martina Cole are ones that, well, everything surprises me that it sells, to be honest, but they've gone quite well, which is always good. The next we have a very small bundle, 2 Harlan Coben paperbacks for £9.99. Again, good bread and butter author. They seem to sell well for me. And then a single book, Good Girl, Bad Blood by Holly Jackson. So this is part of a series. The series sells really well altogether, but the individual books seem to go okay as well. So pick them up, I list them. Once I've got a full set, I'll take down the individuals and put them up as a set. But this one sold before I've had a chance to do that, and that went for £6.99. All these things include postage. So £3 plus £3.99 postage that went for. Right, the next one's a big bundle. But before I do that, lots of comments on the video the other day, eBay's crashed, which, anything that you put up with a kind of negative, oh no, everything's gone wrong title, the videos always perform an awful lot better. From the YouTube point of view, it's always good when something's bad, because that gets more views than, here's something positive. I like to think that that's because people learn more from your mistakes than you do your wins. So when people see that, they want to go on and see what happened, what's went wrong, what they can avoid. And the other part is other people who are struggling for sales will want to know if there's something going on and it's not just them. So it provides that wee bit of reassurance. So I don't think it's a bad thing that you get more views when something a bit negative is up in the title, and that's what the video is about. But it's just what it is. There's lots of comments round about that, like I say. One of them was quite curious, and it kind of goes with what I've already said. Other people who don't have like 15k of stock just sitting, can't afford to make mistakes, so they want to watch videos to try and avoid those mistakes. I think that's what it's meaning. Yeah, that's very true, but it got me to thinking. So I've got something like 10-15 grand's worth of potential sales value of clothes and bric-a-brac and miscellaneous stuff up in the loft. That is what I started eBay with, and then I slowly took all of that down just to turn over to books. But it kind of reminded me about where this whole reselling journey started. I thought it's worth just repeating that again to hopefully provide a wee bit of inspiration and encouragement to people who are thinking about getting this started or at the early stages. Where did I start? Right. November 2022-ish. I'd done a house clearance job, and there was a few bits and pieces of clothes that were like new in packaging, just shirts, nothing spectacular, just kind of generic stuff. So I thought, right, I'm not going to skip that. I need to do something with it. So I went on to Vinted, because I've played about with eBay in the past, but it's an awful lot of hassle, couldn't be bothered with it. So I went on to Vinted and listed those few things, and I had a few other bits and pieces of my own that I put up as well. And quite quickly, a few of those sold, and that money came back in, and it was about 80 quid, £82, something like that. So I just took that out, stuck it into my bank account, and started watching reselling videos on YouTube, and saw, wait a minute, all of these charity shops. I'd never really thought about going to charity shops before, but it hadn't crossed my mind. So yeah, resellers are responsible for more and more people going to charity shops to find stuff to resell. I went in, found a few bits and pieces, and bit bullet, and went onto my old eBay account and listed them on there. Probably about 50 quid's worth of that stuff that I bought is still in the loft, because it was turned out to be crap. As a complete novice, it looked like, oh, that's a good deal, but no, it wasn't. But the other £30-ish worth of stuff, 5-6 things, they all sold for 15, 20, £30 each. And then I took that money and I went back out and I bought more. And by the end of the year, so that was right at the beginning of November, I really started that. By the end of the year, end of December, I had thousands of pounds worth of stock listed on eBay, because I didn't take anything out of it at that point. I just kept churning it back in and back in and back in. And every day, whatever sales came in, I went back out and I spent that money on more stock, which meant by February, March time, thereabouts, I had nearly £25,000 worth of goods listed on eBay, which was like crazy. A lot of it is probably rubbish. I've got no doubts about that. I had some good lucky pickups, things that you paid a couple of quid for and sold for £100+, which then you can go out and buy another 50 things for that and sell them for another 5,000. Doesn't quite work like that, obviously. You don't find those things all the time. But if you're out looking all the time, you will find these things all the time. That's it. If you make your own luck from that point of view, you go out, you look, you find. So that's where my eBay selling started. 80 quid that I got from selling stuff that I had anyway, and then turned that money into more and more and more and more stock, until it got to, let's say, February, March, and I had about £25,000 worth of stuff listed. And that all came from 80 quid, which still kind of blows my mind a little bit. And then I had to start taking some money out, so that slowed down. As the year went on, I found listing a lot of that stuff really frustrating. Clothes, and then the returns and all of these things, so you're not making much money off of it. You have a good day's sales and then something expensive gets returned and it just wipes out the next day, and it was beginning to get a bit annoying and a bit frustrating. So I looked to get moving away from the likes of the clothes, etc. And that's where I started angling towards books, because I love books. I really do. I think books are amazing. And with a few experiments, having a good nosy about the whole interweb, worked out what I could potentially do to, sell low value books and compete with the big sellers. And it took a lot of tweaks, took a lot of different attempts, but by summer of last year, I was in a position to say, right, let's start taking down all the other stuff and focus on books. By the end of the year, I'd get rid of pretty much everything else I had listed. If I had the space, I would have left it up, but I don't have the space to have those things listed and in an order that I can easily enough access them. I didn't want to sell a t-shirt for a tenner and then have to spend half an hour digging it out of a suitcase, or try to find it and dig it out. So that's something to think about in the future. But I now have about, a minute, let's just have a wee quick look. What's the total value of books listed? And again, this is potential sales price. So this, it will sell for less than this because you get offers and I do the multi-deals. But at the moment, I've got 8,200 items listed, or listings, A lot of them are multi-listings and variation listings, and the total value of all of that, potential sales value, is £35,400. So all of that has come from 80 quid worth of stuff that was lying about that I've sold and then reinvested and reinvested. And over 18 months, that's turned into £35,000 worth of stock that's sitting around. And say for the last year or so, I have been taking money out of that as well. If you could go a year and not take a single penny out and just keep reinvesting and reinvesting and reinvesting, you would easily have £100,000 worth of stock listed, assuming you've got the space and the opportunity to go out and source it. So that's kind of that eBay story. Anybody can do it. I mean, really, anybody can do it. You put in as much or as little time as you want to do it, but you have to go out and do it. I still have a wee nosy now and again at the other stuff that's in the charity shops. I try not to, because I end up spending hours just going through racks of stuff and looking through the shelves. But I did see yesterday, and I was very tempted, a Marlboro Classics leather jacket, really heavy, kind of 70s biker style, really nice jacket. They were wanting 25 quid for it, but it was actually quite an easy sale that for round about £100. You know, that the particular one that was there sells quite often for about 100 quid. So you pay £25 for that. You might pay eBay 30 quid in fees. You've got a fiver to post it. So you're going to make £40, 30-40 quid off of that 25. But you get the 25 back. You get, say, 25 profit again. That's you got £50 straight away to go out and buy a load more stuff. What I typically looked for before I got into the books was things that cost £3, £4, £5 and it would sell for 15, 20, 25. Quick, easy, fairly low value. And this is clothing I'm talking about mostly. Flips. So jeans, lots of good brand jeans, Diesel, Marks and Spencer's corduroys. There's a lot of good stuff out there that you can pick up for 4 or 5 quid and sell for 15, 20, sometimes 30, 40 for the Diesel ones, quite easily and quite quickly. And if you make 20 quid on a pair of jeans, you can go out and buy another 4 pairs and sell them almost as quickly. And then you've got 80 quid to go out and buy another 16 pairs. And you can see how quickly that can scale up. But to do that, you've got to do the legwork. You've got to go around the shops. There will be times when you find nothing. There'll be times when you find a stack. I remember going into a place once and I walked out with 12 pairs of jeans. I think I paid 6-7 quid each for them, but they were all Armani, Diesel, Levi's in good condition. So that was again a very quick flip. So that was my big focus, you know, looking for stuff that's 4 or 5 quid that you can sell quickly for 15, 20, 25. So not huge profits, but you can do that a lot. The listings are a pain in the backside for me. I don't enjoy listing clothes, but once they're listed, they were easy to store, very easy to pack and post. So that became the go-to piece on it. The other place I had a wee bit of luck, and it was good fortune, I think, more than anything else, is I went onto one of the vintage wholesale websites. Can't even remember which one it was now. I bought a load of t-shirts, a load of winter jackets, and a load of leather jackets. So I think I paid about 600 quid for the 3 lots. So this was early on. This would have been the December when I started, and I'd got a big lump of cash in because I wasn't taking it out, I wasn't doing anything with it. It was just accumulating. I was buying what I could locally. There was money left over, so I went on and I bought these 3 lots. The t-shirts were a fail. There was a few in there that were worth £15. Most of them were £5, £6, £7 t-shirts. I've probably still got most of them sat there, but probably enough sold that I broke even on that one, although it would have taken months and months and months to do so. The winter jackets, that was okay. I've still got at least half of them. It would have been maybe about somewhere between 30 and 40 winter jackets. Some of them were worth a good few quid, and I got 20-30 quid back for them, so I probably didn't double my money on that one, but I made a reasonable profit. And like I say, I've still got a load up there. Maybe take them to the car boot sale at the end of the summer and just get rid of them all there for a couple of quid each. But the leather jackets, again, I've still got quite a few of the leather jackets left, but I got about 50 leather jackets for 150 quid, which was fantastic. And a lot of them sold for 20, 25, 30 pounds, which was a really, really, really good return, a very quick return, which allowed me to go out and buy even more. I've had plenty of fails along the way, things that I've tried that just haven't worked, and that's why I've got stuff stuck up in the loft. But for the most part, it was easy to just keep putting that money back in so that you could get more stuff. And what I was trying to do was get to a level where I had the same value in stock consistently listed as what I wanted my annual income to be, because I thought that's probably about right. You know, if you want to make £100,000 a year, have £100,000 worth of stock. If you haven't constantly got £100,000 worth of stock, you're unlikely to be able to make £100,000 a year. So I was trying to get up to 50, 60, 70 grand a year in stock that would then allow that to happen. But as I needed more money to come out to pay the bills, the rent, all the rest of it, that became more difficult to do. Wasn't enjoying the listing process with the clothes, so flipped over to the books. And when I moved over to the books, I was down to about maybe £18,000 worth of listings. So that would have been last summer, end of last summer, and that's now doubled up to about the 35. If I had the space and I wasn't taking any money out of this business at all, I would be able to travel far afield, rent a van for a day, do a circuit, and would quite easily have that stock level up at 100k plus. I've got absolutely no doubts about that whatsoever. But cash flow, you've got to manage that if you want to pay a few bills as well. So that's how we've ended up where we are just now at 35,400 with 8,200 listings, which is quite a bit over 10,000 books now in total. And that's kind of my capacity stock wise, to be perfectly honest. So that's that wee bit of that story. So really, anybody can do it. I know you see a few things out there. I mean, World of Books is a good example. If you look at their story, the guy worked out that charity shops were binning books, so he went and said, I'll take them. Fantastic, use your initiative. But he was able to go and use a big double garage, I think. And fair enough, he was still working from home in the house, in the garage, and put up lots of shelving and got them stacked up. Even to do that at a start point requires an investment of hundreds, if not thousands of pounds for your storage, etc. Shelving, all of these things. So that's where you're going to have to put in a bit to get it out. But for those of us who are just wanting a kind of one-man band, make a bit of extra money as it goes along, you can make a lot of money starting with 10 or 20 quid. Get an account. If you've already got an account, you don't need to do that. Go out, find a few bits and pieces. Don't spend more than £4 or £5 on any item, and then try and sell it for 15, 20 or more. You might find something for a fiver that sells from anywhere from like 25 up to 50 quid. Don't put it for the 50 quid, because that's the ones that will take ages to sell. Put it at the bottom end. You don't need to undercut, but put it at the bottom end. Make sure you can promote it and keep it as high as possible, and it will sell quite quickly. And although you could have got an extra tenner out of that, instead you've got 15 quid to go out and buy another 3 things, which is much better than holding off an extra 2 months for that extra tenner. Just keep it churning and going through. So eBay goes up and down. You'll have bad days, you'll have good days, you'll have everything in between. But if you do that and you do that regularly, you will find amazing items. Probably my top finds out with the books would be I got a pair of Stone Island trousers for 2 quid that sold for 125. I got a wee round wooden Chinese marble board that was all beautifully engraved. I paid 2 quid for that, sold for £135. So that's just curiosities and bits and pieces that are easy to recognise, picked up, and you never know where they'll find them. I've never found another pair of Stone Island trousers, for example. I've never found another of those wooden marble boards, but there's always these curiosities out there that you'll find and will turn out to be worth a good few quid. But as a rule, spend a fiver, sell it for 20, and as you got another tenner to go out and buy more stuff as you move on and on and on. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's have a look at some more sales. This one's a bit of a beast. £35. And it weighs a wee bit. There you go. a complete set, books 1 to 25 of children's classics. So I've got quite a lot of these. I had them listed up just singly so people could make up the sets to build their own. At first they sold, and then they came to a very firm stop. Let's put these down. So recently, in the last few weeks, I took down that listing. Excuse me, that was a strain lifting them down there. Made up one complete set. I've got another set that's books 1 to 24. You find book 25, and then I've got a few random ones from within it. So took them down, put them up. That's 25 books selling for 35 quid. That's including the postage. That'll be, you know, like 7 quid to get them posted. So 28 quid back for 25 books. Didn't go promoted listings, which is good. So just my standard 14% if you include the VAT fees plus my 30p listing fees. So that was a nice wee profit on that bundle there. So if you see that kind of set, it seems to be worth picking up. 25 books. I did pay obviously to buy those books, and that would have been, you know, 25p each for those ones, because I know where I picked them up. So it was a quarter of 25, 12.50, about 6 quid for the books, 20 quid, so probably 10 to 15 pounds profit selling that lot. So that's all right if they're easy to sell and they go out fast. But yeah, one to look out for. Next up, we have a bundle of Lisa Jewell, another 4 paperbacks and a hardcover. So my postage is going to be up a wee bit today. I think that's over 2 kilos. Might not be, might be just under, but I think it is. So a bundle of 5 Lisa Jewels, £14.24 for that lot. So that, at least if the postage is higher, it's countered it a wee bit. An extra pound odd over my normal £12.99 sale. So covers a wee bit of the extra postage. Next, a single book all on its own. Over the Edge of the World by Lawrence Bergreen. Magellan's terrifying circumnavigation of the globe. That's it there. Really nice condition. And that sold for £7.24. So that would have been £3.25 plus £3.99 postage. Next, a pre-made bundle. Only pre-made bundle going out today. And it's Georgette Hare. So seems to have 2 kind of different genres she writes in. These are her crime books. So 10 book vintage paperback bundle, classic crime, Georgette Hare, £24.99 for the 10 of them. So, you know, £2.50 a book is a wee bit lower than buying them singly, but having them all bundled together, that they've gone quite quickly again. That's maybe been listed a couple of weeks, so that was nice. 2 more. We've got an Andrew Grieg, The Loch of the Green Corrie. It's a nice wee book. I've picked up quite a few of his. I don't really know what they are, to be perfectly honest, but they're all set in Scotland. Look, see, I've got a lovely little map in the back to show you exactly where. And that sold for £7.99, so £4 plus postage. Finally, this one makes me a bit nervous. It's From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Now these look like they sell quite easily for, you know, £10, £15. But this one's been chewed in the back corner. So I listed it for 3 quid and took very specific pictures of that back corner so people could see the damage to the book and understand why it was only listed for £3 plus postage. So it sold for £6.99 all in, which is about half what it typically sells for. But I just know that somebody's going to get this and go, oh, it's got damage in the corner, not as described, and expect me to pay postage for them to send it back to me. But that was very, very clearly in the description. So I'm hoping that's not the case, but I've got a feeling. I've got a feeling, woo, everything's going to be all right. Yeah, so From Blood and Ash, but Jennifer L. Armentrout definitely seems to be an author to keep your eyes open for when you're out and about. All our books seem to be self-published in the UK, so you have to buy them through Amazon if you want them new. So it's always printed by Amazon, but they're all available as normal copies, if that makes sense, in the States So yeah, see what that's all about. But £6.99 for that one there, and that's all the sales. So 10 sales, what's that work out as? About £135. So back to being a kind of more normalish day. Last month, £130 a day was my average, so that's matching last month's average. This month, until I had my bad days, I was about £160 a day. That's down a wee bit since then. I think we're down about 145, 150. So this hopefully won't pull that average down below that by much. You know, £10 spread across 20 days. It's taking off an extra 50p a day. But yeah, a good day today, and we'll be back up where we would like to be able to make a little bit of money out of this as we're doing it. I needed another shelf, so my personal book collection, you know, those 3 shelves, 1, 2 and 3, the ones that I want to collect again are beginning to grow. When I flipped over to doing books, I took a lot of, get that up so I can see myself here, I took a lot of the stuff that I had, you know, book sets and collections. I figured, well, that'll let me try like some variation listings, putting things up as bundles. So I cleared out a lot of my own stuff, you know, my John Connolly's, Simon Scarrow, Connor Golden, various. But the last month or so, as you'll be aware if you've watched any of these videos, I've been trying to rebuild those collections from the charity shops, and occasionally going on and buying a second-hand one on eBay, as well as buying more new books from Amazon, because it's stuff I really want to read. So we've got our Terry Pratchett, Robert Harris, Connor Golden's first series, you know, the one about Julius Caesar. I've got my John Connolly's, trying to get all of them back in hardcover, and as many signed copies, you know, first edition, signed. Always looking for an upgrade in these. Mo Hader, love Mo Hader, so I've decided to try and build up them as well. I've only got a couple of her hardcovers at the moment, but also Book of Sand, which she wrote under her real name, Theo Clare. When I was out yesterday, I found a big stack of Greg Hurwitz hardcovers. So I've still to read 4 in that series. There's 9 books total for the Orphan X series. I've still to read 4 of them, so I've read the first 5, but I picked up 5 of the set. I had a couple already listed, so take those off the listings, added them in. So I'm looking for 1 Out of the Dark, which I think was book number 4, and then the new book that's just come out end of last year. And that'll make that set up. I've got my Stephen King's, which are slowly getting there. I did pick up a couple over the last month or so. Holly from a Buick 8, I think If It Bleeds as well. And I went on to eBay and bought a copy of Misery just because I saw it. I thought I want that, so I bought that. So a nice look at how dated is that? Old Stevie boy. I don't think it's a first edition or anything. Where are we? Oh, actually, maybe it is. Copyright. Oh no, second impression 1987, so it's a second print. But yeah, it's a start. Some of the older ones, which are obviously much harder to find. The newer books will still keep churning up, but Misery, that's the oldest I've got in the set. It's still a long way to go to complete that collection, but I'm enjoying looking for it. A couple of the Folio Society books, including the one that my boy showed no interest in when he got it for his birthday. Cormac McCarthy, I'm looking for nice editions of Cormac McCarthy as well. So all I've got so far is my little hardcover of The Road, which is pretty nasty condition, but you know, it's a start. I do love Cormac. And then my Curiosities, which was kind of the movie paperbacks I found a few of. It's The Godfather in there. I've read all of these. I'm not going to read these copies, but I kind of like the look of them. I fancy a shelf full of that kind of book. And then books that I'm buying and have picked up for a read. So actually, I picked this up just the other day. Wool by Hugh Howey. I thought, oh, that looks familiar. I'll grab that. That must be one that sells. So I got it listed. And then I was scrolling through Amazon looking for a Blake Crouch book, Dark Matter, because I know it's coming out in Apple soon. And I thought, well, Blake Crouch, I really enjoyed the books I read of his a few years ago. I've got a couple there to read. I want to read that before I watch the TV programme. And then Apple reminded me, Silo. If you haven't watched Silo on Apple TV, get it. Get the free trial, watch it. Absolutely brilliant. I loved it. And that's the first book in the Silo trilogy. So, yeah, that's where I knew it from. So I've unlisted it and stuck it on the shelf because I want to read it. So Hugh Howey, Wool being the first one. So I want to get that set to read as well. I'm never going to get all of these things read. And yeah, that was a Blake Crouch book that was sitting next to it that I found as well. So that's a few different bits and pieces building the shelves. But in clearing another shelf to make the space for that, I thought, right, I don't really have anywhere else to put this stuff, so I need to get it out the door one way or another. So I took everything that was on that shelf down, and there were a few quite high value books on there. Mass, one of those art books, some vintage stuff, a few signed books, quite a few signed books actually, some sets, an old Agatha Christie, various bits and pieces, and I just put them all up in auction for 99p. So next Friday we'll see if they sell or not, and then I'll decide what to do with them after that if they don't sell. But I thought, right, that's the best way to clear up a space to do it. I've got nowhere else to put these books without it becoming a pain in the backside, because they're all kind of large size, odd size or antique volumes, which don't really fit within the rest of my storage, because everything's got standard hardbacks, standard paperbacks, and that's how everything's stored. These things just throw all of that out, so I've just got them in a temporary stack at the end of my table, and hopefully by this time next week they will all have sold and be out the door. But it was like £300-400 worth of initial listings that I've all taken off and have turned into like 20 quid's worth of auction listings, because they're all starting at 99p plus postage, not making that mistake again. So we'll see how they go, and if they do go quite well, that will help continue my auction experiment, which is what I'm working on at the moment. Listing a few books every day at auction, stuff that typically does have a sell-through rate of some sort, to see if that gets things moving. If I can put up 600 auctions a month for free, because I get an allowance of 600, and I make 50p on each of those, then that's £300 that I can get quite easily, and I've got the stock to do it at the moment. Let's be honest, there's plenty of books which I can flip over onto auction or list as auction as they come in, and see if I get, you know, an extra £200-300 a month doing that. That would be great. Some of these I hope do sell for more than 99p, for considerably more than 99p, but auctions, you never get as much at auction unless you're really, really lucky as you would if you put it as a buy it now and waited for the right buyer. So we'll see how that works, but I'll keep you updated on that experiment. Anyway, I've been talking long enough. I need to get this lot packed up and get them dropped off at the Royal Mail this morning, and then get on with my Saturday. So see ya, love you, bye.